every year there is always one guy who's down to his last shot at maybe making a major league roster. The Brewers have a fit over at third base. They have a need. There's so many guys over there right now, but this guy's tearing it up. That's why he's Mr. February so far. We'll talk about him, let you know what's going on at spring training next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago today, pitchers and catchers reported. We're 2 weeks into it. I feel like we're in mid-March already. I mean, let's get this season started. That's where I'm at. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Every year, not every year, but you know what I'm talking about. There is a guy, a pitcher, a position player, you name it, who just lights it up. Maybe a guy getting his last shot, maybe a young guy, but he just gets up there and every at-bat is gold for this guy. And right now, Mr. February is Vinny Capra. Little known Vinny Capra. Yeah, in the offseason, we talked about third baseman, talked about Caleb Durbin, Andrew Monasterio, Oliver Dunn. We went right down the list of guys who could play third base. Sal Frelick, you name it. Vinny Capra barely got a mention on this show, but maybe we should have talked about him a little more. I don't know. He's only had 13 major league at-bats. Is that no? 32 major league at-bats in 3 years on 3 different teams. So far, the guy has been Babe Ruth up there for the Brewers. He's hit a pair of 3-run homers. He did that in the first game on Saturday, and then came back on Wednesday off the Dodgers' Yamamoto and hit another one. So he's got 3 home runs so far, 4 for 10, batting .400 through the first couple of games in spring training. Vinny Capra is indeed, so far, Mr. February. Out of minor league options, he's 28 years old. I told you the 3 teams he's bounced around from so far in 3 different years: Toronto, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee. In 2018, 20th pick in the draft out of Richmond, and really has not done much. He was here for 3 games last year, had a couple of at-bats, but when you're 28 years old and you've got limited amount of at-bats under yourself, this is like one of your last shots. You have no minor league options left, and if the Brewers release him, he'll become a free agent. And, you know, he can go down to the Brewer farm system, I would think. But Vinny Capra right now is doing things to earn the third base spot. And you always have to pause. Because we've seen this story with other guys before. Players who come here, maybe have signed a minor league deal, maybe have signed a major league deal. Veterans, their last shot. Aging minor leaguers, their last shot, and they've torn it up, and they've got to the major league level. They've made the team, and then after a month, we're sick of looking at the guy, and like he's down in minors or he gets DFA'd by the team, and it happens everywhere too. That happens in the NBA. Certainly, it happens with the Green Bay Packers. There's always somebody who lights up training camp every year, and then you get him in the regular season, and he's lost. He's a deer in headlights. Not saying that's going to be Vinny Capra, but I'm not going to get overly excited. But if there's one thing we can get overly excited about right now and give us a little bit something to talk about here as we end toward the month of February, it's Vinny Capra. Murphy says that Capra indeed can earn himself a spot on the roster on this team. He's going to have to do that. And Capra says in the offseason, he worked on his bat speed, and he's going to have to keep on keeping on. He's never been a home run hitter, never been much of a powered guy, but he says he's getting that bat through the zone. And of course, we'll see, you know, as spring training moves on here and, you know, he continues to face Major League pitching, and some of it not very good. Although, I mean, hitting a home run off of Yamamoto, that was pretty cool. But we'll see how Capra goes here. But through the first half a week of Cactus League play, Vinny Capra has put himself in the running for Cactus League MVP, we'll say. How about that? Vinny Capra. Yeah. I don't read too much really into spring training numbers. I said this the other day on my podcast here. I look at, pitching maybe. Where's the guy heating up on the gun? That sort of thing. I'll look at that, but I won't look at batting average necessarily, because I've been fooled by this before, for guys been in 475 and 500 in spring training, and they come up and they start off 0-20 with the Milwaukee Brewers. Who was that guy about 14 years ago who came up like that? Left-handed stick. He tore up spring training, got up here, and couldn't get a hit. And then I think they eventually DFA'd him. But the things I look for, pitching. How does a guy pitches? How's his pitches look? Like Yoho the other day. Seeing that bender that he had out there on the changeup. That's impressive, okay? Because that stuff translates to the major league level. Hitting, well, you never know some of these guys who they're getting hits off. So I don't read too much into it. I want everybody to be healthy coming out of camp. That's for sure. Health is a very big thing. And the Brewers certainly are suffering a few injuries. What would spring training be like if a Milwaukee Brewer baseball team did not come back north with a few injuries under the belt? And certainly the Brewers are starting to drop in that area as well. We're going to get to that coming up here in a little bit. So, as always, don't be too concerned who's batting where in the order, or who's playing what position, or who's starting, or even who's starting a game on the mound. None of that matters. Freddie Peralta hasn't even started the game yet. He's not starting until Friday. And he's the number one starter. So who's starting, who's getting winnings and all that. This is all 6 weeks of trying to work through things, because remember, that is a long season. Football's one thing when you've played your 14, 16, 17 games. Now you're playing 162, and these guys are going to have their rest and all that, and you need a whole roster of guys, and you need a whole bunch of guys in the organization. So whoever makes the team, when that's announced, that is nothing, because whoever makes the team, just because you make the team doesn't mean you'll be here in a couple of days. Maybe Connor Thomas, the Rule 5 guy, if he makes the team, he will be here obviously for a while. Although Gus Verland a few years ago, what was he for? He was here for like 6 weeks before the Brewers got rid of him and released him. But let's keep on watching this Vinny Capra. We'll keep an eye on him. As far as that infield is concerned, that infield right now, I mean, the Brewers aren't saying definitively who's playing shortstop, but I would think it would be such a stupid idea to move Brice Turang out of second base. Why would you? Because one guy leaves on this team. All right, Willie Adames. Why would you change everything up on that side of the infield? Second, short, and third. Brice Turang won an MVP. He won a Gold Glove last year. And that would be my argument for not putting Sal Frelick over at third, because he's a Gold Glove outfielder. And they need outfield depth. The Milwaukee Brewers do. But I would say you keep Turang at second base. Why ruin a good thing? He's been great at second base. He's played it, and he's improved. He's gotten better and better. I mean, he was great, I thought, his rookie year. And he got even better this past year, winning a Gold Glove. Keep him at second base. Shortstop, maybe that's his natural position, but keep him at second base and keep him rolling. And I think that could be just an awesome double play combination with Ortiz and Turang. Turang, 25 years old. He won't be 26 until November. 239 career batting average. He's got 12 or 13 home runs and 76 stolen bases in 2 years. And he spent part of that in the minors back in 2023. The bat's going to continue to improve for Turang. Keep him in that 9 hole, keep him stealing bases, and keep him at second base. As for Ortiz, last year was his first full season, and he did great. Remember, he was Rookie of the Month in the National League in May. And, yeah, he cooled off a little bit. At one point in June, we were talking about him making the All-Star game. Maybe we're going a little too far on that. But still, he batted 239, 11 home runs. Not bad. Nice bar to set for your first year, your first full season, because he only played 15 games with Baltimore in 2023. And then the Brewers got him in the Corbin Burns deal when the Orioles had just a glut of infielders. So they traded Ortiz. But Ortiz, move him short. And let's grow with Ortiz. And, Ortiz is going to be 27 this summer. So he's 27, not aging by any means, but he's not 23 or 24. He's 27. Let the 27-year-old shortstop and the 25-year-old second baseman, Turang, let's grow these two guys together in the middle of the infield and not be moving them around. I think they could be a dynamite middle infield. Let me know what you think. Write me on YouTube here, or you can hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. I think tomorrow we're going to go through some of your comments, but are you with me? Keep Turang at second, Ortiz at short, and third base. Who wins that third base job right now? That's our boy, Vinny Capra. Vinny Capra. Out of options. I'm telling you what, if I had to go with somebody right now, it'd be Vinny Capra. I know what Oliver Dunn could do for me. Monasterio's a journeyman. Keep him on the roster, but not playing every day. Caleb Durbin, let him have some seasoning for another year down at AAA. That's what I say. But a lot to play out. But Vinny Capra right now, the early lead, I would say, at third base. We come back. How did our guy Jacob Misiorowski do the other day? Well, yesterday. Made his 2025 debut at spring training. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. I'll tell you what, wonderful pistachios, a great snack in the afternoon. I have it, put it in yogurt, stir it up after I get done doing my little run. Then I come back and I do have some wonderful pistachios in the cherry yogurt, and I'm good to go for the rest of the day. And that fires me up for doing this podcast in the afternoon. Wonderful pistachios, the highest protein nuts. Each one ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber, better for you, unsaturated fats to help you feeling fuller longer. And that's what you want. You have something to eat around lunchtime or just after lunch, man, you don't want to keep on going back to that refrigerator or that company freezer that you have and putting something in the oven like a Stouffer's or whatever. You don't want to be doing that. Let the pistachios, put some in yogurt and you're good to go. The fact that wonderful pistachios, a complete protein providing all essential amino acids, packs a wonderful protein punch. So whether you're running between innings or meetings or innings or dropping off the kids, wonderful pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. Get snackin', get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good to have you along, everybody. We get some warmer days here in Wisconsin. Saw UW Milwaukee was going to be playing their first games at home coming up on Saturday. Well, I don't know. Seems a little cold for early March baseball in the state of Wisconsin. And of course, that's going on over there, that beautiful facility called The Rock on the south side of Milwaukee. And UW Milwaukee, I believe they play a game or two at AmFam Field every year. I know at least they did. Jacob Misiorowski, will he be playing a game or two at AmFam Field this year? Well, he threw yesterday 29 pitches in one inning of work. Command seemed to be the issue with him, and we knew that. Again, don't read too much in this, but I'm just telling you, 1 inning, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 hit, 2 earned runs. He hit 99 on the gun. There's no urgency for Misiorowski to make the roster this year. Not at all. There's plenty of arms out there. Plenty. Could you always use more? Yeah. Yeah. And the Brewers did suffer an injury to Bukowskis, a season-ending injury. We'll get to that. But Misiorowski, keep throwing him out there and let him develop. No need to rush this guy to the major league level. I am really good with that. But I think what I saw with Misiorowski, saw a live arm, man. Love a lot about him. I think he's going to be great. I'm not putting the cart in front of the horse. I'm not reserving him a spot in Cooperstown or even on the wall of fame at AmFam Field. But I'm just saying this guy has got the makings. Let him develop. Let's not go overboard. Let's pump the brakes. Pump the brakes in a different way with Misiorowski. The other day with Vinny Capra, we got to pump the brakes because he's been so good. Misiorowski was not very good in his first outing. Just all over the map he seemed to be. But it's only spring training. I'm sure little nerves out there as well. But 1 inning pitch, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 hit, 99. And coaches, managers, and of course the coaches are always going to be encouraging at this point. No one's ever going to say, well, Misiorowski, God, was he terrible out there. They're never going to say that. No, they're encouraging. Misiorowski felt fine out there, but now he's got something. Now he's got a baseline of which to work with. Jacob Misiorowski, but we'll see what happens when he makes his next start. Cooper Pratt continues to heat up too. That's another guy like him. No need to, obviously he's not making the team, but Cooper Pratt is another guy who I'm keeping a watch out for. Man, the Brewers got such good young talent, don't they? They have to do this. The Brewers have to do this, as you know, because they can't. I was just on a station in Omaha, Nebraska today, asking me about the Brewers' young talent and how they keep winning. That's the first question I always get when I go on some of these shows. If I go on Sirius XM or whatever, or the Bill Michaels show in the state, how do the Brewers keep winning? How do they keep doing it? They do it with a great farm system. They defy the odds. They defy the odds of baseball because the system works against them. But the Brewers, 4 division titles in 7 years, that's pretty good for the terrible payroll. But they have to be great. If this team had a terrible farm system, they win 63 games a year. So they have to be great. They have to produce the Jacob Misiorowskis. They have to produce the Jackson Churios. Jesus Mate, who bounced to third in his first spring training at bat. 17-year-old kid coming to plate. Think that might have been the youngest Brewer ever to come to a plate on a spring training or a major league game. Because Robin Yount was 18 in 1974. I don't recall anybody, the Brewers, ever having a 17-year-old at the plate in an exhibition game. And I believe he turns 18 this summer. So Jesus Mate. And who was talking about him? It might have been Ricky Weeks was talking about him. He's still, he's going 100 miles an hour out there, anxious to get in the lineup, as you would expect, a 17-year-old kid in a minor league game. Just think where you were at 17. Could you have gone and hit in a spring training game like Jesus Mate did the other day? That's amazing. Just incredible. But another guy, see, that's guys like Churio, Mate, you got to develop players like that. Otherwise, this is a 63-win franchise a year. The way they keep losing free agents or can't re-sign their own guys. But Misiorowski, again, let's see how he does in his next outing. But he doesn't need to make the team. Doesn't need to make the team whatsoever because there was plenty of depth in that bullpen. Although the bullpen did take a hit. We'll talk about that. A season-ending injury for the Brewers. That's coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. By the way, this podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcasts. Locked On Brewers is there. We're on all the major downloads. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you, great Brewer fans out there. And you find us on YouTube as well. Our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Try to do these during spring training, during the afternoon. watch some of the game if it's on TV. Some baseball teams have all their games on TV. I got the Major League Baseball package, and not all the games are on TV. Some franchises show every game. Turn it on. They're always on. Brewers, I believe tomorrow's is on. Don't quote me on that as well. But I have the app, but I have the DirecTV package, extra innings. But when you put your credentials in on the app, on the Major League Baseball app, because you could do that during the regular season. Apparently you can't do it in the preseason as well, because spring training games will not show if you're watching it on the app, but the regular season games will if you get it through DirecTV. I did not realize it, unless I'm doing something totally wrong. If I am, somebody let me know. I'm doing something wrong, but I've tried. I worked for an hour and a half on it last night because I wanted to watch some of the other teams play in baseball yesterday. Just watch the spring training baseball, and I couldn't get it. Couldn't get through the system. Either that or something was up. So you get us on YouTube, and hit me up on my Twitter account. Anytime you have a question about the Brewers or whatever, please hit me up on Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Got a scratchy 3-day shadow coming up here. Man, haven't shaved, haven't had to really leave the house much lately. The last couple of days, haven't had any games or no games coverage, so let the beard grow out a little bit, and man, it's been itching me. JD Bukowskis. Bukowskis is going to miss the rest of the season. It's going to be 9 to 10 months of recovery. He's got surgery on his right lat, a right lat surgery. Seemed to be in a good mood after the game. After the game today, they were interviewing him on the Milwaukee media that was down there was interviewing him. So Bukowskis, who was trying to earn a spot in the bullpen, and right now he is going to spend the season rehabbing. Brewers really like Bukowskis. They do. They love him. I don't know if he's going to earn a spot on this team, but there's a lot they like about him. He was on the postseason roster last year. So Bukowskis, I believe he was on the postseason roster. Now I'm testing my memory. Or am I thinking of Mears? Bukowskis. Anyway, out 9 to 10 months of recovery with the lat surgery. Tyler Black should be back next week, battling a back injury. Tyler Black is. And Tyler Black needs all the at-bats that he can get right now, and all the PT, all the playing time, not physical. Well, he needs a physical therapy right now, but all the playing time that he can get, because he's trying to earn a spot on this team. He knows this is a big spring training for him. We all do. But as you always hear, you can't make the club when you're in the tub. I learned that from Jerry Augustine. Told me that one. Might have been Jerry, yeah. You can't make the club when you're in the tub. In other words, if you're in the hot tub all the time and you're in the trainer's room, you can't make the team doing that. Tyler Black. Next week, hopefully, we'll see Tyler Black back in action. Freddie Peralta, I mentioned this earlier. He'll likely pitch his first game coming up on Friday. All right, that's going to do it. We'll do it for a Wednesday episode here on Locked On Brewers. Again, we'll be dropping episodes daily here on Locked On Brewers. We're getting more. God, we got another month of spring training games left. Can you believe it? I believe it's the 27th where the Brewers open up, which is Thursday. A week from tomorrow, the Brewers open it up in New York with Freddie Peralta making the start. So lots and lots of news between now and then. But I'm telling you, the injuries are coming a little too fast, man. They are. Tyler Black, Bukowskis, DL Hall to start off. I believe there's one more in there as well. So had a few injuries, a few setbacks, and hopefully that's not a growing trend here in the next couple of weeks. But they'll have spring training's too long to begin with, right? And we're starting in mid-February. And like I said, I feel like we're like at end of March already. And we've only played a handful of games. So we got like 4 weeks left of games before we finish it off. All right, that's going to do it for Locked On Brewers. Thanks for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers. For your second listen, go to my guy Sully, Locked On MLB. He's got all the spring training news, trade news. None of it ever involves the Milwaukee Brewers, the trade news, but other teams, might be wheeling and dealing. Never the Milwaukee Brewers, though, as we've learned. So my guy Sully on Locked On MLB will have all that. Till tomorrow, everybody. This is Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have yourself a great day.